The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift 2006 film, the third part in the long-running racing series, although it is almost entirely unconnected with the previous two. So in this one we have an entirely new protagonist. His name is Sean. He's a troubled high school kid from Texas. He moves towns and schools a lot because of getting into those misadventures with mostly cars and racing. And after another such mishap, he is forced to either go to juvenile prison or to move to Japan and live with his father. He does the latter thing. He moves to Tokyo, begins school there, and at the same time, after school, he gets involved with this underground scene of drift racing. And begins on the one hand, his relationship with Han, who is kind of a mentor character for him, and on the other hand, his rivalry with a character nicknamed the Drift King, who is sort of the leader of the scene at the time, and also has some connections to Yakuza through his uncle. So I'd say that in terms of overall quality, I'd put this film somewhere between the previous two. It's certainly much better than the second one, which was atrocious, but it's still worse than the original. In terms of good things about this one, definitely the atmosphere of Tokyo is put to good use. I thought it breathed a lot of fresh air into the series. The plot is simple but relatively well executed. There are some cool cars and some of the action sequences are done in a competent way. Then on the other hand, we have some cons. The dialogue is, as usual, terrible. A lot of the scenes suffer from the syndrome of death by a thousand cuts, so you never know what's going on exactly. Oppressive music, as is tradition in the series, and paper-thin characters as well. So, based on all of that, I'd say that the movie is rather average. I would, but I really can't, because there's one more huge gripe that I had with the film, and that has to do with the main character, Sean. So the first problem is the casting. Sean is supposed to be a 17-year-old high school kid, but he is played by Lucas Black, who at the time of filming was 24, and he looked 28, maybe even 30. So I really found it difficult to suspend my disbelief that this old dude is hanging out with all those high school kids. He just doesn't look the part. But looks and age aside, the character himself is just an unlikable douchebag. He has almost no positive qualities whatsoever. You could maybe argue that he's supposed to be an asshole at the beginning and then grow into this sort of hero figure. But that's highly debatable. I didn't notice any growth from him at all, and in fact he just remains annoying as hell throughout the entire film, especially with his stupid Texan accent. So that certainly brings it down for me, and I think that another sort of problem is that the movie is in general trying to treat itself a bit too seriously for all the nonsense that it has. Maybe if it was more self-aware and had some more distance towards itself, it would do it some good, but as it stands, it's just a pretty mediocre film.